Did you guys see this one? Watch this.
Excuse me, what are you doing? No, I just saw you put that underneath her dress. Absolutely you did.
No, ma'am, I really wasn't.
You absolutely did.
Ma'am, I really wasn't. I promise.
Then show me your phone.
Yes.
No, we're going to call security.
No, I really...
You absolutely did. And you were following me over in the children's section.
Because I have a sister who's pregnant. Ma'am, I really wasn't.
You've been extremely close to me this whole time. Please show me your phone.
No.
I really don't mean
Let's get
to.
security. Because this is absolutely wrong.
I really don't mean to.
No, you obviously did.
No, ma'am, please, I really
Nope,
don't mean
let's
to.
get security.
Maybe she's looking at the wall and has her phone to the side and is like monitoring it. Because he looks over kind of, but then just like, I don't even care. The level of this is so insane. And we know we all had this happen, okay? And celebrities did have that happen too by photographers. One of the things in the like kink community and stuff like that, people were like into this thing. And I said that these topics were of high priority in talking about, but that some people took this stance that by doing it, this was the weird thing. So they were trying to say like the stance is by doing it for like an entertainment purpose, it keeps them from doing this stuff in real life. That's not true. But we didn't know at the time, right? Because this topic was not in the general public. And to even bring this up, even let's say in 2000, that this is like massively going on everywhere, that people will just say, oh no, it's insane, you're paranoid, or women deserve it because why is she wearing that skirt, in a store? I mean, you cannot be protected 24/7. It's just the truth of it, right? She's doing absolutely nothing wrong, doing what all of us would do in a store. I have no idea how many times that has happened to me. I don't. I've had bizarre incidents where you notice someone behind you, but then you don't know what they're doing. And I had one incident in a Dollar Tree with this woman. It was with a woman, and I'm standing in line, and you don't know what they're going to do. They could try to do something like this. And just because it's a woman doesn't mean she ain't trying to get a free grope, okay? Or trying to steal my purse, it could be anything like that, right? So I was standing there, and out of nowhere, she come up on me, and it's not like the place is packed and she has to be up on my ass. And I feel somebody right up on my butt, like all of a sudden, and I was like, is this really happening in the Dollar Tree? Like, what the hell? And I walked forward and I looked back, and she gets closer and she touched my butt. And I went to the counter and I did this thing, and then I pulled over a guy and I said, can you look on the security cam and tell me what this person did? I didn't want to make an accusation without knowing, because maybe it was an accidental thing. I mean, what the hell? I don't see how, but anyway, they looked at the cam and so they didn't see him like try to take my purse or anything, but they touched my butt. And regardless of the fact, somebody getting a free grope, it could look like an accident, because the way that these people do it is they purposely act like it's an accident. Now, this has nothing to do with adults doing videos of this to entertain this type of thing, let's say in a consensual way, right? Like they used to sell these men used to set up these videos and do this type of thing online. And I don't know if it's still okay to do it. I've never did a thing like this. I don't know. But these men were doing clips like this and making money, hiring a girl like that, right? And then they would pretend an incident like this in a store and then sell it online, and men would buy it, right? Which means that they were turned on by this conduct right here. However, it didn't come from the videos or any adult doing those things. It actually came from childhood. And I was talking about it, and it's really strange how this came about. So I don't know why it's occurring, but it was around third grade, right? So these little boys started going up my skirt. And I was like, but I don't know how to answer why it was occurring. So I don't know if it's something that at home that they're seeing their dad doing to somebody else, or if it's just a thing where they're talking about curiosity, but it was some sort of thing of them doing it. I don't know how to answer it as to why it was happening in early childhood. And that's where it would have to happen, you guys. Because that's the area where whatever their interest is happens in that early development years, not as a teen. Not as a teen. Now, they may have additional things as a teen as they're, getting into other stuff. But this was actually happening in early childhood, probably between the age. Okay, so what is the age range of third grade? And before that, even. But you're talking about third grade. So this conduct was seen in third grade. And I was like, I don't know how to answer it because we haven't had this roundtable talk about it. I mean, maybe some people have, but it was definitely not from, them watching a video as an adult online and then they wanted to do this. It was something here in this area. And I was like, we know it happened there, but I don't know why it happened. And then when they got in trouble, all they did was, I don't know what they did. They didn't tell our parents because I'm 1,000% sure they didn't call my parents to say, I'm a victim of it, right? They just said, this is a bad thing to do. And then it was like, we're not going to tell you why it's bad, kid. That's what they did to me in my school. And so I didn't really grasp what was going on because I always ran around in my underwear. So I had no concept. I didn't even care. And so, and it's effed up really actually in this whole thing. Cause I just didn't get it. I'm like, why is he underneath the bars, staring at my skirt? And because he was basically kicking back and just looking. And I was like, I don't understand. I didn't understand. And they didn't explain it. But you need to explain to me why he was doing that. I don't know how to answer it. So if anybody else does, it would be great. I don't know where it came from. And that's what we're looking at. Because I go, well, these things seem to be happening sporadically due to the environment or some sort of thing that brings it about. But it definitely wasn't from watching a video from that. Now, it could have been another addition. It could have been just general TV. Maybe it was on TV. Maybe in the 80s, there was a lot of general TV and movies that had men doing this conduct. Maybe we could look back even at the Marilyn Monroe thing when her skirt blew up. I don't know. But you have to look at that because that's where they're picking it up. They're picking it up somewhere in the environment. And it's not an adult video. Those are just that was what was considered okay and normal at that time period. And so it was developed at that point. So, I'm a terrible person. I need to be muted offline. I'm a horrible human. And this is what we're talking about, right? This is the stuff they want to mute down. But the insane thing about this with this guy is that he's caught red-handed. I mean, literally, what are you, I mean? He's like, no, man, I wasn't doing that. I was following you down the children's aisle because my sister's having a baby. I mean, how scary is that, right? These guys should be nowhere near children. Nowhere. I mean, this is their bullshit. They wouldn't care if this was we don't even know her age. She could be a minor. Is it a minor? I have no idea. This guy's 21. So the initial story came from where I saw it. Oops, that's a different story. Huh? Here it is. Bored panda. I was like the sociopath panda. Fantastic work, people. Praise the woman's quick thinking and catching Upskirter on camera. A brave woman confronted a Target shopper who placed his phone on the ground of a store aisle right under her skirt, right? So they arrested Thomas Elliott, 21. So this isn't even Gen X. This is their kids, okay? They're going to do it. Okay, so video footage shows Elliott bending to the ground and putting his cell phone on the floor with his camera pointing up the female customer skirt. Excuse me, what are you doing? The woman filming Elliott can be heard saying in the clip. I just saw you put that underneath their dress. And then this is him. And doesn't he look like the typical guy? This is the guy. Okay, we're going to be oxygen. He looks like the normal average kid, that you would never expect to do this. And I'm looking at him going, that dude looks mighty special. He got those dopey, dumb ass eyes. Look at that. Okay, we're gonna go down here. The man denied any wrongdoing. That's what I'm saying. I go, he's literally caught red-handed. He's like, no, ma'am, I really wasn't. I promise. This is such a socio right here, because imagine, you could just put this, okay, imagine he's like a 5-year-old kid, right? And he's getting in trouble. No, ma'am, I wasn't. I promise I wasn't doing nothing. Yeah, there it is. You absolutely did. Then show me your phone. We're going to call security. You were following me over to the children's section. And then he argued that he was at that part of the store because he was shopping for toys for his pregnant sister. And we might find out he doesn't even have this, but he's using that as an excuse. Upon realizing that the shopper remained firm in her decision to call security, he said, I really didn't mean to. Yeah, I didn't mean to be a perpetrator. No, they're so calculated, because he's like thinking, okay, I'm going to totally prey on this person right here. I just think it's insane that this woman's standing there. She's obviously standing there, and he's just like, okay, and I'm going to do it anyway. And then he was removed from the store and handcuffed. And he looks like your typical perpetrator. Yeah. I mean, this is the guy that these men would come out here and just go, he looks like a normal son. I'm like, that dude looks like a pervert from hell. And he looks a little, I don't know what went on in his family. You know, some gene thing going on here too. So let's go down here. But he's just pretending he didn't do anything. The stupid game. Like the stupid game that they all do. Detectives are aware of Elliott's previous employment in several school settings and are working. Holy crap. This is the guy you put into school? Okay. I've had it with these people. Okay, so he worked in school settings and are closely with employers and neighborhood law enforcement agencies to review additional camera footage for any other potential victims. After checking surveillance video from the department store, the man received 2 additional charges of felony secret peeping. This is a sex crime though, and it needs to be viewed as a sex offender. So, 2 additional charges stem from a review of a store camera footage from April 15th. In total, GPD has identified 3 separate victims, holy crap, at the store that morning, and have subsequently charged him with 5 counts of secret peeping. We're going to call security. You were following me over to the children's section. I mean, this is a form of rape, okay? This is a form of rape. Should anybody be entertaining this for men that are into this online? Now, some of these things, this is what I'm saying. I go, even though those things are consensual, I don't think, in my opinion, that we should be entertaining these things. So there's a thing to it. It's not, because this conduct, like what you're doing is kind of, I think the way that we should be viewing this more or less is like, if what we're doing, or anybody doing, right? Anybody doing, even in a playful setting, if it's not okay in real life like this, like just at random, we probably shouldn't entertain it. It's something like that, because there was multiple things up in here that some things I agree with, some things I don't. Like I was saying that there's certain things that are just hokey pokey and it's just stupid, because neither, when we're talking like hypnosis and things like that, it's just like, I can't make somebody do something against their will with that. I mean, it's just generally, but things like this, yeah, I mean, so if you're entertaining this for somebody, that means you're entertaining a perpetrator that would love to go and do this. And then there was a couple of items where, okay, like initially, like we're totally like not all deep into like what any of this stuff is. It was like this level of ignorance. Like, I don't know why somebody be like this, but whatever, if this is what the public wants. This is when you're talking about algorithm and what sells and what, this thing. And then there was a point where I just sat down and I was like, I think this is geared towards this group of people. There was a whole business thing here. I don't even want to get into it here. It's just like, oh my God. Okay. There was a lot of different things. And so, to clean this up, and in addition, all this stuff basically comes from Christianity. That was another thing about it that I was like, oh, okay, wait. The way that they perceive this, or at least the way that they were teaching all of us, in this, in the profession of that whole thing, was that, they're like all these like innocent Puritans. And I go, yeah, but I don't think you guys have put this together. And there's no such thing as that vanilla thing. There just isn't. They're actually quite the starters of this whole thing. I was like, the starters of this whole thing, actually, and they're quite insane. No, they're not those people. They're not what they present. But then at the same time, they are, because they're into that control, that thing right there, right? Which is what created that whole little universe over there. And I was saying, I go, it's weird because I keep noticing like all these people come from these Christian backgrounds and they're all effed up in the head. And why would you want to replay this? This thing, getting abused at your Catholic school. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to relive some perpetrator, teacher, or somebody doing stuff. But they did. And so at that time, that's kind of how they were taking it out. And I don't think the public knows that much. But it was thrown to me. It's like a really random tidbit of information, but you have to know a lot more about, the global crisis of child abuse and the church, sexually abusing all these kids, where it was just like this random tidbit of information. And I'm just like, these people, I mean, I don't know why, I ain't gonna judge you, dude, but that's fucking weird. Whatever floats your boat, dude. But actually it was really bad because you're talking about long-term childhood abuse where some people are extraordinarily traumatized by it. Then there's these people that sexualized it and keep replaying it. There's a lot to this conversation. And then you have the sociopaths from hell, right? So those perpetrator ones. So, this here, that's why I'm pointing it out. I go, it may seem like whatever. This is pretty common, but it didn't come from watching like an adult video, right? But it could have been just general TV and everybody's actions in the 80s. I'm not really sure. Like, I can't answer the 3-year-old. Why? I mean, not a 3-year-old. He would have been, what age is that? 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8, 9, 10, right? 8, 9. 8, 9. Probably around that 8, 9 age, right? Is already doing this, okay? They didn't have cameras back then, so they weren't videotaping, but they were peeping up skirts, right? So that is a problem. We're talking about the origin of him. And so the origin is good to know, because then you need to tackle the origin and make sure that children are not developing into this perpetrator. So that's why it's important. And that's why it's important to talk about all this sexuality stuff, all this stuff, because some of it is not bad. This is bad. And how they were treating it in school at the time, where I don't know what they did. I guess they just figured if they tell them don't do it anymore, that was the end of it. No. And in fact, that person may have went on to do stuff like that. It's not like we followed him around. I don't even know what kid that was, to even take a look, I'm like, did he get arrested for any sexual misconduct, That kid will, because at that time they did not tackle that right. It's not a thing to say, no, don't do it anymore. Something was being developed there for them to do that already. And that's the area we're talking about that needed to have a zoom in, focus. So it was before teenage years. So, way before. So I was like, probably the environment, maybe dad, something. We can figure it out. It's just, I don't know what the hell was on TV where they were doing that. So yeah, okay, Marilyn Monroe thing was it was like her standing there with her skirt getting blown up. And then they kind of did the Betty Boop. I don't know, maybe in the regular TV that was on daytime something, you know what I mean? The movies that were out then that were geared towards teens. Was there a lot of upskirting in those? We know that there was a lot of, like, okay, depantsing was in those ones. Trying to tear girls' clothes off was in them. It would be in those things. And those are not adult films, right? That's not pornography, right? That was the everyday average TV, teen, whatever bullshit that was on television. And those were typically written by men, right? For men. And so they basically normalized abusing us in this way, right? And then they would say, oh, it's just jokes. You know what I mean? Like, huh. Okay, so this is one of those things. But to my knowledge, they haven't really considered this a sexual crime. I remember bringing it up before. Peeping Tom. Okay, so yeah, it was like not really considered a sexual crime, and it is. It is a major sexual crime because this guy is getting off on doing something against your consent, which is a form of rape, and it's so calculated. It is a form of rape. Now, see, he didn't touch her, but it's a form of rape. And yeah, so they were just kind of like, they minimized this conduct right here, and it is sexual in nature for that person. Yeah. But also the thrill of him doing something against your will. Because it's not even a thing where he's like, hey, lady, do you mind if I, like, tape up your skirt? Even though that would be totally inappropriate to even do that. But that person is at least asking somebody to do something, and he still should get busted for going on like that. But, no, he has a thrill of doing something secretly against your will and then doing that. And then he's a pathological liar to your face. I mean, literally. I mean, how could you even try to defend this? Yeah, so he's just a socio. So can we thank his parents? His parents are a hot mess. He just barely turned 21. He's not even out the gate yet, really. So